Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is really exciting because I've decided to start a new series on my page all about home decor. I've gotten countless DMs while furnishing my apartments over the last 3 years for people asking for advice, asking where I've purchased things. Honestly, in another life, if I wasn't a social media agency owner, I probably would be an interior decorator. It's something I'm so passionate about. So I thought that it could be really fun to start a new series on my page that basically helps you guys find some really cool decor items based on different home aesthetics. So of course, to start off this video, I had to start with my absolute favorite aesthetic, which falls under the category of vintage Victorian aesthetic slash dark academia. If that's your vibe, if those are like the keywords that you guys have been looking for, you're definitely in the right place. Today I'm gonna share some of my favorite finds, and for this series I'm actually gonna share pieces that I don't necessarily own myself. They could just be items that I stumbled on the internet that I thought it could be of interest to someone who likes different aesthetics, because sometimes I stumble on some really gorgeous pieces that I absolutely love, but they just don't fit my personal home aesthetic. But for this video specifically, I'm going to share pieces obviously that I have around my apartment, because like I said, this is definitely my favorite type of home aesthetic. It's definitely how Alex and I have focused our attention for this apartment especially. So I have my list here. I don't want to forget anything. I really want to start with a big item. So for me, it was always a dream to have a fireplace mantel in my apartment, and this one I literally told Alex he wanted to be more involved in the furnishing process, and I was like, that's totally fine, but one non-negotiable is I want a fireplace mantel. I was like, I don't know where we're gonna put it, but I want a fireplace mantel in this apartment. And he was like, okay. So I found this one. It is the perfect aesthetic. It is this gorgeous stone looking fireplace mantel. It's definitely not stone. It still gives the illusion, the look that it's this super high-end piece, and for a lot more expensive than what I paid for it. This definitely is a splurge. I'm not saying that it is on the cheap end. It's definitely a pricier item, but it is such a statement. I mean, if you look at the details on this fireplace mantel, I literally want to cry when I look at it. It is so stunning. It's just giving what it needs to give. I'm so in love with this look. It looks like a slab of cement that was just crafted, and obviously it doesn't look like it's part of the wall, but I personally love that look. Fireplaces that are built into the wall I absolutely hate. I think it's way too modern. I just love that look of a fireplace mantel popping out of the wall. A lot of Victorian homes do have these fireplace mantels that are attached to the wall, but they do still come out. I definitely recommend it. You can obviously add some adorable trinkets. I've decided to go for a book kind of aesthetic inside the fireplace mantel, where I've added the book pages to turn towards you, because I personally like that beige kind of look. All the books are different colors, so it would have been more of a colorful kind of look had I left the spines of the books facing our way. I personally prefer this. This is something I did in my old apartment too, that I would always get comments on. People are like, why are the books turned? And it's just, personally, I just think it looks nicer. I prefer the aesthetic. I don't own too many books, so I can literally tell you what book is what just by looking at the book itself. I don't need to see the spine to know which book I'm grabbing. And let's just like say it too, I rarely grab these ones. Most of these books I've already read in the past. It's very rare that I reread books that I've already read, that it just, to me, it's worth it looking nice. Based off of the overlay footage that I just showed you guys of the fireplace mantel, it's a perfect way to segue into the next piece, which is this gorgeous statement mirror from Curating, which is a Canadian-based furniture company. If you are from the States, this is 100% the dupe for the Anthropologie mirror. It's just way more affordable. So if you're from Canada, I'm telling you, this dupe is 100% worth it. They also have floor-length mirrors with this aesthetic, which I'll insert images here of what they look like. I'm personally trying to get my hands on one of these. I want it for the bedroom, but Alex is not convinced. I'm still working on it. They are so stunning. The quality is insane. I think this half mirror on top of the fireplace mantel was $350 Canadian, which is just, you cannot beat that. I think the Anthropologie ones are a couple $1,000s US. So it just goes to show you that this is definitely like the dupe of a lifetime, truthfully. I feel like this mirror is gonna be in our collection forever. And the gold material is not like a very cheap looking gold. Like sometimes with more affordable gold pieces, you have to be like careful with the gold, because I find they can actually look super cheap. Like they look kind of like a yellowy gold, but they killed it. It has like that brassiness to it that a lot of vintage pieces have. Obviously, a must-have is a candelabra. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I never know if I'm pronouncing that word correctly, but these pieces are so cute. They just automatically give you that vintage feel when you have a candelabra. This one personally I bought from an antique store, and I think I paid something like 20 bucks for it. So cheap, and honestly that's my recommendation for you guys for candelabras. You can buy them online, but some of them obviously are more new looking, whereas this one was actually from Italy. It was imported from Italy, and it just kind of has like that history to it. It has that story to it. I don't know from what year it is. I think it's from the early 1900s if I'm not mistaken. It did say on the label when I bought it, but I don't remember exactly. I do think it was early 1900s. There's just stunning. There's so much detail to it. It adds so much personality to a room. You guys could put this on a side table. You guys could put this on fireplace mantle like we did. You guys could put this literally on a kitchen table. There's so many places that you can put it. It's just worth investing in one to give your space that vintage kind of feel. Just to segue into it as well, another suggestion that I have for you guys is to invest in candles that are either white or beige kind of looking. I personally don't really love colored candlesticks just because, again, I'm trying to go for that very like vintage kind of feel, so I find white or cream works best, and I always love burning them when I first get them so that the wax starts to melt, and then I will blow them out and it gives this really cool effect. In this one in particular, this is not a candelabra. They're very rich candle holders that I actually bought from H&M Home, which is like so funny. I find they give off that perfect kind of vintage feel as well. And then the candlesticks I think I bought from like Walmart or even Amazon. Actually, I think I bought them off Amazon, and I gave them a personality just by burning them. I let them kind of go all over the candle holder, and it just really adds like a lot of personality. So, and then I never light these. I very rarely light these. I really just bought it for the look of the burnt candles. So I find that that's such a nice way to kind of add some personality as well. And then I also have these really cool ones in the actual candelabra candlesticks that are twisted. These candlesticks I actually purchased from Home Sense, I believe, here in Montreal. And yeah, so I don't know if they have them all the time, but I'm sure you can find super similar ones off Amazon or like at Walmart. I will try and link some similar ones down below in the description. By the way, all these items are available in the description to shop if you guys are interested, so be sure to check it out. And then I also have this little candle holder that's actually from Zara Home, and again, the same thing. I've just let a candle melt. This twisted candle is smaller than the one I have in the candelabra, and these ones are actually from Etsy. So the next one I've mentioned in many home decor hauls before, and it's simply just finding really cool vintage books. It's as simple as going into like a secondhand bookshop and finding just some cool covers. I personally find for our vibe, our aesthetic, I'm very into obviously the antique kind of look, but to me, like, it screams like Paris, Parisian aesthetic, like old Parisian aesthetic. I get a lot of my inspiration from like Parisian architecture, and so personally I love always like reaching towards French books. So these ones specifically I purchased from a company called Joliette. I will have them linked down below. They are vintage, so you will not be able to find these exact ones, but they always have very similar books that they launch every few days onto the website, so just keep your eyes peeled on that website if you guys are interested. I believe they're based in Toronto. And then these ones, which are my absolute favorite, like these to me scream dark academia. My mom actually gave them to me because I would use them all the time as props in like my photos before I moved out. So as like a housewarming gift, my mom was like, you can keep them. They're literally some of my favorite pieces. She purchased them from a company called Pure One Imports here in Quebec, and they unfortunately no longer exist. But you guys can find super similar book covers, like vintage book covers like this, off Etsy. They're definitely pricey. These ones were pricey, my mom said, when she purchased them. They're a little bit of an investment. They're like statement books, I like to call them. Okay, so obviously next we have to talk about artwork, because artwork can absolutely transform a room. So I specifically have purchased the bulk of my art prints off of Opposite Wall or also off Etsy, and they're prints that I've just purchased as like digital prints, and then I would print them on paper. And then I bought frames from Opposite Wall, I bought frames off Amazon, I bought frames from IKEA. But if I were to go back and do it all over again, I would actually just thrift my artwork. So I've been to a few thrift shops since furnishing all my walls with art, and you guys, they have the best antique paintings, photographs, and they come in these gorgeous, usually like gold frames, and it literally is like something like 10 bucks sometimes. So it's so worth it, even if you just want to keep the frame, like the gold frame, and then you want to put like an art print in it. That's how I would do it this time around. I'm telling you guys, you're gonna save so much money. We spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on our artwork, and I love them. Like, I absolutely adore our artwork, but definitely I would do things a little bit differently if we were to like refurnish and go through the whole art process again. I really love paintings, which is something that we don't have in our apartment yet, but when we eventually buy a home, it's something that I really want to do. I want to like invest in some nice higher end art pieces. Like when you go into a museum, when you go into the Louvre, when you go into the Musée d'Orsay, and you see those beautiful canvases with like layers and layers and layers of paint on them, like that's what I want in my house, with those gorgeous like gold frames that just like take up a wall, and they're huge art pieces. Like that's what I want eventually. Next up, I want to talk about busts, because busts are another really great way to give off that vintage kind of feel, the whole antique kind of feel. I have a few around the apartment that I'm absolutely in love with, and unfortunately most of them are no longer available to shop. So the one that I get asked most about is this one right here. It is the David bust from the David artwork, obviously by Michelangelo. That is in Florence, Italy. We love David, he's a king. I absolutely love this bust. It is to this day probably one of my favorite purchases ever for home decor. I got this actually at Zara Home years ago, and I paid 50 bucks for it, which is, to this day, I'm like, unheard of. I paid 50 bucks for this. This one right here is from HomeSense. I purchased it. I think this one was also 50 bucks, which when you compare it to the quality of the David one, I like feel a bit guilty paying that much, but she's still really cute, and she also sits on our fireplace mantle. And then I also have this one, which I actually bought off AliExpress for something like 10 bucks, maybe not even. So I really like this one as well. Just, she sits on top of the books under the fireplace mantle. She obviously doesn't look as high quality, but that's what you're gonna get from shopping off AliExpress. And then there's also this tiny little bust that I also like to keep on top of some vintage books. He's super cute, he's so tiny. I think I paid 2 bucks for him. So I will have those linked down below as well, and he is also from AliExpress. And then recently on my wish list was this beautiful bust lamp, which is from Anthropology, and they do ship to Canada. They do ship this lamp to Canada for extra duties. Definitely a pricier item, so be warned. My parents actually surprised me with it. They were recently in Florida and they had it delivered while they were in the States, and then they brought it over to me. It is this gorgeous bust lamp, and she is my absolute favorite. She is a stunning queen. Forever gonna be one of my favorite now decor items that I have in our apartment. She's stunning. She gives exactly that type of energy that we love, that vintage feel, that antique feel, and I find it's just the perfect lamp. Like she's adorable. So thank you so much to my parents for gifting me with this lamp. It was such a beautiful surprise, and I'm so happy with it. Okay, so on the theme of lamps, I wanted to show you guys this lamp as well, which is definitely later 1900s inspired kind of vintage. It's definitely not very Victorian or dark academia, but I thought that I would still include it in this home decor series because it is still technically vintage kind of feel, and I absolutely love it, so I just thought I would share. And it is this night table lamp, this mushroom inspired night table lamp that I purchased actually off Urban Outfitters, so I'll have it linked down below if you guys are interested. They have a whole bunch of different ones. I'll like insert some of the colors that they have here. Again, I'm obviously a very neutral person, so I stuck with just the plainest one. These mushroom lamps can go for hundreds, even thousands of dollars off like Etsy, like the real vintage ones. These are obviously mushroom inspired, like they still give off the same vibe to me, so I'm just like, I don't really care if it's the real deal or not. These ones, I think they go for $100 Canadian, so it's definitely way more affordable than the vintage ones that you're gonna find online. Some people get super lucky and they can find more affordable ones at like thrift stores and stuff. And then the last thing that I wanted to include in this haul, I don't know if it really like counts as home decor, but I'm gonna include it anyway, are vintage teacups, obviously. So these two right here are actually from my grandma. I absolutely love these. They're so stunning. So these are true like antique kind of teacups. My mom also gave me these vintage inspired teacup tea light holders. You could technically use them for like milk or like sugar if you wanted to put sugar in them, but they also hold like little tea light candles, and I absolutely love that. And I thought like you could actually probably do that with like any vintage cup that you find. Like you could just fill it and like make a candle out of it, which I thought was such a cute idea. These ones obviously were created with the intent of using them for tea light candles, but I mean, you guys can get creative with it as well because these are no longer available. I think my mom said she bought them off Party Light, I think the company's called. I'll try and find them down below, but if not, you would have to like DIY it. I don't know if that's like a thing. Yeah, your best bet is to find these really cute vintage teacups in thrift stores. They are literally all over. They're there all the time. Also off Etsy as well. If you guys don't want to like physically go to a location, Etsy has some really cute ones too. Although those are definitely going to be a little bit pricier, but you can always check like Facebook Marketplace as well. They always have like some good finds. So that's it, you guys. That is the video. That is the first decor video in this series. I hope that you guys like this. I could probably do a part 2 just for like antique slash vintage slash dark academia type inspired home decor items, just because like I said, this is my lifestyle. This is what how I like to furnish my home. So definitely let me know if you guys would want to see a part 2. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time with another new video. Bye.